It wasn't pretty, and some may even say that it was ugly, but a win is a win, and the Carolina Panthers have won 3 straight.
You are Locked On Panthers, your daily Carolina Panthers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into another edition of the Locked On Panthers podcast, a part of the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, as always, Julian Council, talking Carolina Panthers with you every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and yes, of course, Friday, your team every day. That's our motto here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Thanks for watching the show here on YouTube, where I am live after every single Panthers game. And yes, I know I'm a little later than I typically am on a road game, and also whenever the game's at home, had some NASCAR duty, so I'm here late with y'all here on this Sunday evening. But either way, check out the show here on YouTube. If you ever miss a live edition, of course, listen wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Today's episode of Locked On Panthers is sponsored by Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code Locked On NFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. The Carolina Panthers 13. The New York Jets 6. The Carolina Panthers have won 3 straight games for the first time since the beginning of the 2021 season. They are above 500 for the first time since they were 3-2 entering into week 6 of that 2021 season. Apparently the first time they've been above 500 this late into the season since 2019. Yeah, it's been a long time since Carolina has shown to be a competent team. And I told y'all on Friday before signing off here that I did not trust this team to go out there and to win this game. Now, I felt like they would win the game and that they should win the game and certainly could win the game, but I did not have full trust in the Carolina Panthers to do what they did today. And it was not pretty at all. And the way that they played is kind of why I felt the way I felt heading into this game. But damn it, they're 4-3. They got to win. It's hard to win football games in the NFL, and nobody should know that better than Panther fans over the last couple of seasons. And now they sit here at 4-3 with a big home game next Sunday against the Buffalo Bills. But be happy. You can certainly look at some things, and we'll talk about them here on the show, that you're not happy about ways certain areas of the Panthers performed on Sunday. But a win is a win, and the Panthers got it done, in particular on defense. And if there was anybody on the field on Sunday, probably 2 guys, that were not going to allow the Panthers to lose to these New York Jets, it was Jaycee Horn and it was Derrick Brown. Jaycee had 2 spectacular interception in this game. And I put this out there over on Twitter at Julian Council. You can also follow me on Blue Sky at Julian Council, just saying that Jaycee Horn is refusing to let the Panthers lose to these New York Jets. He had in the third quarter the interception on a Tyrod Taylor deep ball as the Jets benched Justin Fields after halftime, put in Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod, the previous play before, had an open Allen Lazard, underthrew him. Trevor Wallace able to knock that ball away. Should have been a touchdown for the Jets. Instead, it's not a touchdown for New York. The next play, they go deep ball again. That's also a ball that hangs up too long. Jaycee makes an insane one-handed interception, brings it down in the end zone, touchback. Carolina is able to avoid giving up a score on that drive. Then in the fourth quarter, Jaycee comes up with another interception on another bad throw by Tyrod Taylor. Just floats one up there on the sideline. Jaycee goes up there. He catches it much like he's the wide receiver than he was a corner on that play. So 2 interceptions and 2 just big drive killers there. One where the Jets were in position to where maybe they're going to score on that drive. They should have certainly scored the play before, and maybe on a better ball there, they maybe score on that play that Jaycee makes in the third quarter. But then in the fourth quarter, the Panthers offense is doing next to nothing there in the second half outside of their opening drive. He gets that big stop. So he was awesome in this game. Derrick Brown was great in this game as well. Had 2 sacks, 7 tackles. That was tied for a team high on Sunday. He has continuously been the best team player on this team and on this defense, and he did that again today in this win. Him and Jaycee, both guys are getting paid a premium the past 2 off seasons, going out there and showing why they are 2 of the highest paid players at the respective positions of corner and defensive tackle. And how good is it to have DB back out there. And those are two guys too, in Jaycee and Derrick, who said in the locker room this upcoming week, or this past week rather, that they've been in a position that the Jets have been in, and that they're not going to overlook a Jets team when last year they were 1-7. The year prior, they were 0-6. They have seen a lot of losing during their times here in Carolina, Derrick being back in 2020 and then Jaycee coming in 2021. The last time they had won 3 straight games, that starting off that season, and then they only won 2 games the rest of the way. So they know what hard times look like, and they know how the Jets felt going into this game, and they made it damn sure that they were not going to be on the bad end of this game, and they got it done defensively. The pass rush, if you look at the pressure numbers, we'll look at them more into detail tomorrow when we talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly from this game. They weren't great. The pressure numbers weren't, but they got home today, and that's really all that matters. The Panthers entered the game with an NFL low 5 sacks, end up having 6 sacks today in the win against the Jets. I asked on Friday, if not this game, when will the Panthers be able to have the kind of output that they had today? So they got it done. They absolutely did that. Derrick again had 2. Nick Scorton and Prince Umanmielen, and both those guys having to step up as Pat Jones II out for the rest of the season after having back surgery earlier this week. Nick went out there, had a 1.5 sacks in this game. Princely had a 0.5 sack. To see both those guys combine for 2 sacks, also huge in this game. Ashawn Robinson was able to get home in here on the game as well. So the pass rush, they finally got the quarterback on the ground. Justin Fields held on to the ball way too long when he was out there. Tyrod Taylor, he was under siege. Not a good Jets offensive line at all. And the Panthers defensive line and pass rush overall took advantage of it. Teron Merrick had a nice little time. Safety blitz, so good call there by Ejiro Evero. And just overall, the defensive effort was strong again. Last week, they weren't going to be forcing Dallas to punt a lot, but they got the stop when they needed it against Miami. They weren't great in sudden change, but then they forced 4 straight punts and got the stop when they needed it to ice the game late against Miami. So the last 3 weeks of defense has had varying levels of success, but they have made the plays when they needed to make them. When the offense was doing nothing in the second half, they were able to get the 2 interceptions by Jaycee. They forced 3 and outs and the punts that they needed to get, and they were able to salt away the game offensively at the end. So I give a lot of credit to what this unit's been able to do recently. You look at today, the Jets only had 220 yards. So the Jets are the worst offense in the NFL, so I'm not surprised at all about how bad they looked in this game. Only 12 first downs for the Jets, 81 rushing yards, which is more than Carolina's given up the last 2 weeks combined. They gave up 50 total to Dallas and Miami, but 81, and Breece Hall only had 38 of those. So the Jets did nothing on offense. Justin Fields, I don't know why they gave him the money they gave him. Good luck the rest of the way with that decision. Tyrod Taylor, been a fine enough backup and fine enough spot starter in his career in the NFL, but he's not somebody who's going to go out there and beat you. And the offense looked far more competent with him at the helm for New York on Sunday than it did when Justin Fields was in there. But at no point in time did the Panthers ever let the Jets offensively threaten them in this game. They got that short field after the curious decision on 3rd and 1 and then on 4th and 1 as well. That did not work out there to where they turned the ball over on downs on their second drive. The Panthers offense did. That then led to a Jets field goal. But even on that drive, I mean, the Jets needed some penalty help there in order to get in position to where they could even kick a field goal. So the Panthers defense played well again in this game, stopping the run, getting after the passer finally, and then their 2 studs, Jaycee Horn, Derrick Brown, they led the way, and they played like the top type of players that they are at their respective positions. Carolina, again, wins 3 straight. It was ugly, not on defense, but it was ugly certainly in the 13-6 win up there in New Jersey against the Jets. Now, the Panthers offense left a lot to be desired. Again, if you're thinking about it, because the Falcons game offensively really weren't that great. This game offensively really weren't that great, but it was a big day for Xavier Legette. The running back rotation, certainly some questions there. Bryce Young does go down, but does not appear to be all that serious. We'll take a look at the Panthers offensive day here in just a moment on Locked On Panthers. If you're a business owner, here's the truth. SaaS promised to make work easier, but now the average company is buried by hundreds of apps that slow down your teams and simply don't work together. That's not SaaS. That's sad. Software as a disservice. That's why you need Rippling. Rippling is the unified platform for global HR, payroll, IT, and finance all in one place. They've helped millions of businesses replace a mess of disconnected tools with one system designed to give leaders clarity, speed, and control. By uniting your employees, teams, and departments in one system, Rippling removes the bottlenecks, busy work, and silos your software created. Whether you want to run your entire HR, IT, and finance operations as one, or just fill the gaps in your software stack, Rippling can do it all. And right now, you can get 6 months free when you go to rippling.com/lockedonnfl. Learn more at rippling.com/NFL/lockedonnFL. That's rippling.com/lockedonnFL for 6 months free. Terms and conditions apply. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Every day we make decisions, but on Prize Picks, being right can actually get you paid. Don't miss the excitement of this football season with Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Playing Prize Picks is such a fun, simple way to add more excitement to football. You just pick more or less on player projections like Josh Allen's passing yards or Saquon Barkley rushing for a touchdown, and you're in the game. I love how quick it is. You can make your lineup in under a minute, and there's a special max discount promotion live on the board right now for the Golden State Warriors versus Los Angeles Lakers game on October 21st. Charlotte's own Steph Curry is discounted to only needing more than half a point to win. Mix and match players from football, basketball, and baseball to build your dream lineup today. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNFL for $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. All right, back here on Locked On Panthers. Carolina Panthers getting a 13-6 win against the New York Jets on the road, their first road win of the season, improving to 4-3 on the 2025 season, welcoming in the 4-2 Buffalo Bills next week here in Uptown Charlotte. It was an ugly win. Not my words. Actually, the words that Rico Dowdle used in the locker room, and anyone who watched this game on Sunday really was not in for a treat. Now, obviously, for Panther fans, a win, you take it, you're happy about that. The way that they won wasn't pretty offensively at all. Rob Gronkowski, honestly, during halftime, he said it. All that we need to hear is like, no one who's watching this game is really being entertained. This is a bad football game. Between a terrible team in the Jets and a team that is ascending right now in the Carolina Panthers, but a team that just need to get the monkey off their back to win on the road. And if it had to look this bad to finally get the win on the road, get the confidence, then you absolutely take it every single day of the week. So we'll see what they do moving forward, but this is obviously a big win for them to follow up the success they had at home against Miami, against Dallas last week, get this win. Now be ready against two pretty good opponents in Buffalo and Green Bay, who the last time I checked was struggling against Arizona. I don't know where that game's at this point in time. But Xavier Legette, let's give him a shout out. That's a guy who caught a lot of hell, a lot of flack from myself and a lot of you early on this season for the way that he played. He did not play well against Jacksonville. Not getting his foot down, inexcusable. The effort on that route, that was an interception. Didn't love that. Not blocking, hated that as well. Then week 2, they couldn't even put him out there on the field on the final drive. That's just how bad it was. So he went down with the ankle injury, or the hamstring rather, and it took him a couple weeks to get back out there. Had the touchdown his day in the first game back. Dave Canales teared up there. He came in today, and I think he had his best day as a Carolina Panther. 9 receptions on 11 targets for 92 yards and a touchdown. 2 plays in particular stand out. The touchdown that he had, Bryce Young just scrambling around. I was watching XL the entire time on that play, just continued to move, to get open, to work with his quarterback on that scramble drill, and then be able to get open, catch that touchdown. So great job, not just by Bryce, but also by XL in that situation. Then they play that iced the game, the 33-yard reception on that 3rd and 8, Andy Dalton finding him down the sideline. Obviously a big play there. So the way that he played in this game, and he's also the last couple of weeks, he's helped out in run blocking. That was one thing, again, we mentioned week 1. I just mentioned a moment ago that he just had a loaf Did not do that the last couple of weeks, did not do that today. He gets rewarded in a big way offensively. And Dave said he believed in him, that it was just going to take some time for him to get that confidence, for it to really explode. And he had that day today. Not a ton of explosives, 33-yard one. I think there was another third down where he maybe had like an 18-yard reception. That was big. The touchdown, only a 3-yard touchdown, but he moved around, got open on that play. So a lot of credit to Xavier for what he was able to do today in this game. As far as everything else offensively, not a ton of positive things to talk about, if we're really being honest, coming out of this game. So I want to start off by tipping my cap to XL in the way that he played. I believe was the best game he's played so far as a Carolina Panther in his second year. The running back rotation. Big question that people have had over the last couple of weeks. I've been asked about on the mailbag. We've talked about it here on the show. Outside of that, and we finally got our answer as far as how the Panthers would utilize both Chuba Hubbard and Rico Dowdle. Chuba Hubbard got to start. Is it surprising? Not necessarily. They are paying him 4 years, $33 million, potentially $37 million. So that's the guy they're spending a lot of money on. Or Rico Dowdle is the guy that they have bought for 1 year, and he'll likely be elsewhere next year. I know you want to hear that. Let's get through the next 10 games and we can have a more serious conversation, if that's a conversation that we really need to have, about paying another running back, which is an absurd thing that people want to do. But either way, you looked at it. I didn't think it mattered who started and who didn't start. I think what matters most is like who finishes the game. And if you look at it, yeah, like Rico Dowdle very clearly through the first 6 weeks of the season has been the better back. But the politics of the NFL, Chuba is someone that they paid. Chuba is a leader in that locker room. They went with him at first. Today, you did see that Rico was clearly, again, the better back. 17 carries, 79 yards, 4.6 yards per carry. Chuba had 14 carries, 31 yards, 2.2 yards per carry. The numbers, they don't lie. Just overall touches, 18 for Rico for 96 yards, 16 for Chuba for 55 yards. Rico's been better. He was the last 2 weeks when he got to be the guy. He was today when they split carries and touches. And we'll just see how this continues moving forward. For me, I'm fine with them going out there and deciding Chuba gets this series, Rico gets this series. Chuba's back, Rico's back. But if one guy is very clearly better than the other on that day, then ride the hot hand. It's nice, though, to have them both be fresh in the second half, and in particular the fourth quarter. Let's not forget that Rico was cramping up the last couple of weeks and could not finish the game. Then Trevor Etienne came in. Rico probably should be starting based off of it. If this is a meritocracy, who's been the better back so far this year? It's been Rico Dowdle. Now, is it fair to Chuba Hubbard as far as he just got back this week? Is it fair to judge his performance because he's not played the last couple of games? Maybe not, but certainly he was able to go. If he's healthy, then you're going to have to evaluate where he's at. And where he's at right now, as far as performance this season, is behind Rico Dowdle. Where he's at as far as where he stands in the franchise moving forward, well, clearly he's going to be their back, while Rico, there's a lot of questions what he's going to be doing after this season, whether he has a role here in Carolina, which, I mean, they just drafted Trevor. They paid Chuba. Who knows what Jonathan Brooks is going to bring? Do you really need to be paying another running back? That's just my thought, especially when people are asking me, oh, should they trade for a pass rusher? Yeah, maybe you could pay a pass rusher in free agency. Oh, but maybe just go spend money on a running back instead. Just it doesn't make any sense to me. Y'all already know how I feel about it. It doesn't make sense. And why I feel the way I feel is you pay Chuba Hubbard, and then you have a guy who's been a better back for you, and he's making nothing. But we can talk about that another day. Rico Dowdle, clearly to me, it's a better back right now. I do think Chuba's going to have good games this season once he finally gets healthy and really gets going. He hasn't gotten going at this point in time. I think Rico's going to continue to run hard, and that it's a positive for Carolina to have both these guys in the backfield, continue to rotate, but get to a point, though, where especially in the second half, you got one guy who's looking better than the other, then ride him. You don't have to be trading off series after series. Chuba has 3 more years left in Carolina. Rico shouldn't really have another year left in Carolina. So use him, abuse him, then lose him. That's the way I feel about the situation right now. Bryce Young, he gets injured in this game, and that would typically be a headline, but it didn't really look to be all that serious. And of course, Carolina gets the win. So he exited at the end of the third quarter. He got sacked. Apparently it's a right ankle injury. It looked like he got stepped on. I didn't think it was intentional at all. Just seemed to be a play that was made on late in the game. So he was able to walk off, limp to the locker room, didn't need assistance. So I looked at that as a positive, took an x-ray. That's negative. So no break there. They'll look at an MRI on Monday. Dave probably won't tell us anything until Wednesday for competitive advantage, yada, yada, yada. Complete bull that people do. So we'll find out. Doesn't seem to be that big of a deal. From some of the locker room quotes that have come out, they talked to Bryce. Seems like he's going to be okay. And hopefully he'll be good to go against Buffalo. So that's just one thing that we're going to have to monitor throughout the week. I thought overall, Bryce is fine. Another day where he throws for less than 200 yards. Another day with a passing game. Leaves a lot to be desired. He was 15 of 25, 138 yards. That touchdown, 88.4 passer rating. And like the offensive rhythm throughout the day just was off. Was it the trading of running backs? Was it bringing in some new guys like Coker, who didn't have a reception, had 2 targets, but 0 receptions on the day in his debut? Was it JT Sanders coming back? I don't know what was going on. Maybe we should have expected that Steve Wilkes, who arguably should have got the job a couple years ago, that he was going to pull out all the stops there defensively to try to stick it to Tepper in the organization. Maybe we should have expected that, but this was not a Jets defense that's good. They came into the game 28th in EPA. They were 20th in success rate, 20th in total defense. This is a bottom third of the league defense so far through the first 6-7 weeks of the season. And they went out there and they held Carolina to a field goal, punt, and then end of game. That was the second half drive chart for the Panthers offense. So if you're not having success against the Jets, who again have not been a good defense, then you're going to be kind of worried moving forward against, Buffalo, they can't stop the run. So Carolina really shouldn't throw the ball at all next Sunday. They will, obviously, but they shouldn't really be focused on trying to throw the football. Maybe they can get some play action stuff going. Green Bay, I think, is a solid defense. But overall, like, this was an offensive performance that is not good. And I'm wondering if ever the passing game is going to get going this season. Again, Coker's first game back this year. JT's coming back. Mitchell Evans been a nice little piece there at tight end in the last couple of weeks. He got the opening reception of the game on that little bootleg. Tommy Trimble's been out there as well. T-Mac didn't really have a big game, but XL did, of course. Jimmy Horn Jr. was involved as he got the call above Hunter Renfrow to be the number 5 receiver in the game today. I don't know. I look at the offense, the passing game in particular, and I have my concerns. You need to be able to run the ball, especially as the weather turns. You get late into it, and you need to be able to control the line of scrimmage, something that Carolina, I think, can do with the offensive line, even where it's at, as Austin Corbett came back, and they had Damian Lewis out today. But still, you got to be able to throw the ball. And right now, when I look at this team, Bryce has made the throws you need him to make them. When it was 4th down, got to have it against Dallas, against Miami, made the plays. But consistently through the game, the passing game hasn't been there, and it's got to get better. If this Carolina Panthers team, now sitting at 4-3, is going to do anything more than just be a 7 or 8 win team this season. So we'll see where that goes. Dave had some questionable decisions again. Like, that's basically every week with this guy at this point in time. The 3rd and 1 in the first half. I don't necessarily hate the idea of trying to throw it there, but why not just run it? Especially when I think Rico, maybe it was Chuba, but why not run in that situation? They run it on 4th down, don't get it. Okay, not great. That leads to a Jets field goal later on, the only points Jets scored all day. And then later on, it's 3rd and 2, didn't hand the ball to Rico, and then decides to punt after that. Just things where you could have salted the game there. You could have really stayed on the field early on in the game and put that game away after 2 drives, because clearly New York was not scoring any points had they not had that turnover on downs there early in the game in the first quarter. So, yeah, you still look at some of the decisions that he makes as far as play calling goes and just wonder, is he doing good enough? So the offense was bad. If we're being honest, it wasn't good. Xavier Legette was good. Rico continued to do his thing, but overall, field goal, punt, end of game as your second half drive chart against a Jets defense that hasn't really stopped that many people. That's not encouraging, but the Panthers won, and that's all that really matters. And it's good to see that bad offensive performance against Atlanta, W. Bad offensive performance against New York, W. Can they do that against better teams moving forward? Probably not, but we will find out over the next 2 weeks against Buffalo and against Green Bay. Special teams, Trevor Etienne a couple of key returns. And again, a win is a win. We'll talk about that here in just a moment on Locked On Panthers. Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. From footwork to breathwork, athletes sweat all the details. Mazda brings this same intention to how they craft every model. You can feel Japanese craftsmanship in every detail, from metallic accents to available Napa leather upholstery. You can make everyday drives feel like anything but. From smooth handling to intuitive controls, with all-wheel drive standard in every crossover SUV, you can drive with confidence through almost any season. Like our players, Mazda sweats every detail, because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love how FanDuel gives me so many ways to play. I've built parlays, tried player props, and even followed the live lines during games. It makes watching football even more exciting when you've got a little something riding on the action. Whether you're a casual fan or love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. All right, back here on Locked On Panthers. Panthers moving to 4-3, 3 straight wins, and now a big game next Sunday against the Buffalo Bills. But they have taken care of the dregs of the AFC East, as the Dolphins are terrible. Got their ass kicked today against the Browns. The Jets also are ass, and the Panthers took care of business, even if it didn't look good. A win is a win. And the Patriots, of course, they dragged this team a couple weeks ago, but looks like they're pretty doggone good. Not 29 points better than Carolina, but they're a good team. Now Panthers next week will face off against the team that everyone expected to be, and probably still expects to be, the AFC East winner. We'll see how that plays out next Sunday. But looking back at this game, Trevor Etienne, he was a key, I think, to both of the scoring drives that they had, or at least two of the scoring drives that they had in this game today. The Panthers gave us our answer as far as who was going to be the punt returner and how they're going to figure out that fifth wide receiver position. Going into last week, I figured it'd be Jaycee Horn Jr. because he made a big play against Miami and that he had been incorporated in the offense, and Hunter Renfrow really hadn't done anything aside from that second half against Arizona. But then Hunter was returning punts last week against Dallas, so I had no clue at all who they were going to have as a punt returner and who they were going to have as fifth wide receiver. And, well, they answered that question as Trevor got the nod after a couple weeks where he wasn't the guy. DJ Dallas was back there a couple weeks ago, but then he was inactive today. Trevor gets the opportunity after he had muffed one a couple of weeks ago and then made some poor decisions there, at least one poor decision against New England. But I thought he was really good in returning kickoffs and punts. And the Panthers, they won the middle eight. That last 4 minutes of the first 4 minutes of the second half, that's an important part of the game. They won it because of Trevor. He had that nice punt return that was returned from the 33 of Carolina to the 48 of Carolina, right there on the edge of Jets territory. That then led to the Panthers capping that off with a touchdown before the half. They had a kickoff return to start off the half that went into Jets territory. The Panthers kicked the field goal, and that's all that they needed. I mean, they were already up 10-0, but then 13-3 at that point in time. Or I guess they were up 10-3, but then 13-3 at that point in time. That was enough to win this game. So kudos to Trevor for being able to make those plays and to be a positive impact. Really the first time I think this season they've had a positive impact in the punt or kickoff return game in a game on special teams. So good job to Trevor. Congrats to Jaycee Horn Jr. for winning over that job. And I would think he was involved in the run game again today, made, I think, one catch. I would expect that he's going to continue to be active. And I don't really know what role Hunter's going to have if he's not going to return punts and if he's not really giving you much offensively. And Jalen Coker's not coming out of the lineup. Just give him some time to really be a part of the passing attack. And with him and JT, Bryce, we'll see what his health is. I think Bryce will be fine. There's going to just still be a little bit for it to get really going passing wise, but I still have concerns over whether that passing offense can ever be what a lot of people would hope for it to be. And when you look at the talent level that they have, if it's ever going to be that. So we'll find out. Again, 10 more games, time to evaluate all of that. But sitting here after a win, certainly happy about where things are at. And again, a win is a win. The Panthers are above 500 for the first time since entering week 6 of the 2021 season. First 3-game winning streak since they started off 2021 3-0. There's certainly things to be concerned about. Talk about those, but be happy. Absolutely be happy about where this team sits right now. This is their 7th game. They've had 6 different starting offensive line combinations, as Damian Lewis, who had been the only starting offensive lineman to start every game, did not go today with a shoulder injury, and they have not fallen apart. A couple of years ago, they went really 2-15 because their offensive line was terrible. That season in 2021, where Carolina had started off 3-0, fell apart because the offensive line fell apart. They were 13 out of 17 games. They had a different offensive line combination. This year, it's been different almost every week. And yet this team sits here with a winning record. They've won 3 straight games. You see the promise there with the young receivers in McMillan. We've seen what Xavier Legette did today. Jaycee Horn Jr., some of the plays that he's been able to make so far early on in his career as a Panther. What you have at running back, whether it's going to be Rico or Chuba, you have a good running back tandem here in Carolina. And you have certainly a guy in Rico Dowdle who's looked great so far. They'll figure it out as far as how that's going to go, the balance of the carries and touches moving forward. But you have 2 solid options. You have a quarterback who can make big plays in crunch time. And we've seen that over the last 2 weeks, not today because they didn't need it and Bryce was out, but you saw it against Dallas. You saw it against Miami. Yes, he can make mistakes, but you know he can also bring you back to win some of these games late in the fourth quarter. A defense that has found a way to stop the run, that got to the passer today, still looked at the numbers, dead last in the NFL in pressure percentage, but we're not going to worry about that today, as they had 6 sacks and they made the most out of their opportunities, which you'll love to see. But Derrick Brown's a great player. Jaycee Horn is a great player. They have something that they're building on. We'll find out moving forward, though, against Buffalo, against Green Bay, just how good this team is. But we know what they're not, and what they are not is a bad football team. They are not a mess. They're not a part of the dregs of the NFC or in the NFL, period. That's not who the Carolina Panthers are in 2025. They are at least a middle-of-the-road team, and that is a massive improvement to where they have been over the last couple of seasons and really since David Tepper has bought this team. They're finally headed in the right direction. So be happy about that. Be excited about this upcoming week and all that's going to come with it for a team that's won 3 straight and for a team that is excited about what they have, seems to truly like each other in that locker room. Get behind them. Get behind them, be excited, because it's been a long time that this city has had anything to really cheer about. And yeah, it could go sideways very quickly because it's a week-to-week league. But over the last couple of weeks, they've given me a reason to believe. And isn't that really all that you were asking for in the beginning of the season when I asked y'all, what's your expectations? You just wanted a competent football team. You wanted a football team that you could believe in, have some hope. Well, there's hope, finally. All right, it's going to wrap up this edition of the Locked On Panthers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Hosted by yours truly, Julian Council. Again, y'all subscribe and follow the show free over on YouTube or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. And be sure to follow me, Julian Council, over on Twitter and Blue Sky at Julian Council. We're right now at me or DM me over on Twitter or over on Blue Sky with your weekly Wednesday mailbag questions. I'll be back, of course, in a couple of days on Wednesday answering those questions. So at me, DM me over on over at Julian Council on Blue Sky and on Twitter to get those questions into me right now. But in the meantime, be safe, be happy, be whole. As always, keep pounding, and I will be back with y'all on Tuesday, where we'll look back at the good, the bad, and the ugly from this win. We'll also review the 3 keys victory that I gave you on Friday, and we'll hear what Dave Canales had to say after reviewing the tape, possibly get an update there on Bryce Young. All that and more coming up here on Tuesday's edition of Locked On Panthers.